Walking on a dream. How can I explain? Talking to myself. Will I see again? We are always running for the thrill of it, thrill of it. Always pushing up the hill, searching for the thrill of it. On and on we are calling out again. Never looking down, I'm just in awe of what's in front of me. Is it real now? Some people become one. I can feel it. Two people become one. Thought I'd never see the love you found in me. Now it's changing all the time. Living in a rhythm where the minutes working overtime. We are always running for the thrill of it, thrill of it. Always pushing up the hill, searching for the thrill of it. On and on we are calling out again. Never looking down, I'm just in awe of what's in front of me. Is it real now? Some people become one. I can feel it.
Ooh, just ran in circles for 36 minutes, 3.67 miles. I'm not sure how the pace calculates when you're on a boat moving up the coast.
Catch me, I'm falling down. Catch me, I'm falling down. Don't stop, just keep going on. I'm your shoulder lean upon, so come on.
Surf Run is on storm watch. Reporting live from the top of Mount Marietta at 1,200 feet. The air is thin, it's hard to breathe, but that's not what's the story today. The story today is Tropical Storm Hillary, which has now made landfall and is moving over the area. In fact, the center of the storm should be moving just to the east of me within the hour. We're experiencing incredible amounts of rain and wind right now. It's very difficult for me to even stand in one spot. I feel like I'm gonna get blown off this mountain any moment now. In fact, there's quite dangerous with debris just flying by. All right, reporting live from Mount Marietta. Surf Run on storm watch. Just kidding. The wind is, there's just puffs of wind, light rain, not nearly what I was hoping to experience today. But yes, the center of this storm is yet to move over our area, which actually will occur just east of here over the San Jacinto Mountains. So we still maybe have a couple of hours left to get more rain, more wind, and truly experience what a tropical storm is like, or should be like. Now, this is a rare event, and what better way to experience it than go out running in it? So I made my way up to the top of Mount Marietta, which is simply just the tallest peak in this area, to see what kind of views I can get, see, you know, if it's maybe a bit windier up here, and it really isn't, but it's been a fun run. I had to mud skate my way up here. Really, the most dangerous part is just the mud and running up this thing. Running down it's gonna be even more difficult. It's like skating. So it's quite tricky in that regard, but as far as weather goes, pretty mild. But it still feels so good to be out here. Again, this is a rare event in San Diego, and I could not help but actually go out and get in it. And I'm hoping that the clouds do look like they're getting a little darker, so I'm hoping that just dumps. I just want it to just dump. I want it to be crazy out now, right now while I'm out running. So we'll see what happens. All right, Surf Run out. All right, welcome back to the Surf Run channel. I'm recording this on a Wednesday in week 11 of 18 weeks of training for Ironman, and I wanted to go back to weeks 9 and 10. I missed putting out a video for week 9. I was on vacation and just didn't really have the time or access to be able to kind of put a video together and publish it. And so this is really a bit of recap of weeks 9 and 10 as I am halfway through week 11 now. So week 9 was an interesting week. I was on vacation. It happened to correspond with a down week or a recovery week in training, so that actually worked out quite well. I did my best to get my workouts in. I was able to get my runs in, and I was able to get the one bike session in on a stationary bike, but I did miss my long ride on Saturday. I took a cruise out on a boat, and my swim workouts, I substituted the swim workouts with doing some strength training, just using some free weights and some machines in the gym on the ship. And then for the runs, which actually was pretty cool, kind of a unique experience, I did do the runs on the ship. They've got a track up on the upper deck, so that was a lot of fun, just kind of running around in circles. Really wasn't that bad. Again, fortunately for me, it was a down week, so swimming, biking, running, duration and distance were way down from previous weeks. It wasn't that big of a deal running for 36 minutes or 4 miles on a boat. And again, like I said, it's quite unique, and I had a lot of fun doing it. You know, quite the obstacle course though. Really neat to be able to run and just kind of look out to sea or look out at the ports. Recommend doing that. Way better than getting on the treadmill. The gym on the boat had a treadmill, and there were people running on that, but I was like, I just can't run on treadmills. It's not my game. Nevertheless, I got my runs in. So it was a good trip and brought back some really good memories and great times with my family out at sea in the different ports. And like I said, I got most of my training in, I feel. However, we got back on a Friday and was looking forward to Saturday long ride and a Sunday long run. But bringing back good memories, I also brought back an illness. So unfortunately for me, Saturday was a miserable day. I couldn't get out of bed. Saturday was a no-go. So I missed my bike ride. Sunday afternoon rolls around, and I was able to finally get myself out of bed downstairs, get some coffee, get some food, and Tropical Storm Hillary was approaching. In fact, Tropical Storm Hillary was making landfall in San Diego. First time since 1939. I was not going to miss that. So I laced up my running shoes, my trail shoes, and headed out to the hills over here just to experience it. I tried to time it in a way that it was the windiest and the wettest, and ended up doing an 8-mile run, which was exactly what I was scheduled to do anyways on Sunday. So I, even despite being sick, I still got my Sunday long run in some really cool conditions. Not quite as windy or as rainy as I thought it, or as was forecasted, but nevertheless, it was still something very unusual for August in Southern California. So I wasn't going to miss getting out in it. In fact, it was probably good for me to get out and kind of just flush the system, if you will. All right, so that was week 9. Didn't get all the workouts in, but still feel pretty good about what I was able to do despite what was going on. Monday rolls around, week 10. All right, big week, biggest week so far of training. Monday rolls around, I'm still feeling sick, and decided, well, it was a scheduled day off anyways. It was a rest recovery day, so I took it. Took all Monday off. Tuesday rolls around. Tuesdays are typically a bike ride, and I've mentioned this in previous episodes where I'm going to do bricks now on Tuesdays. I'm going to do bike run on Tuesdays. I need to get more running into my training. I need to get 30 miles a week or more in training and running, and so that's going to require me now to do 4 runs a week. Tuesday rolls around. I get the hour-long bike ride in, power pyramids, felt pretty good. Took the aluminum bike out, didn't even have clip-in shoes, heavy bike, had fun on it, got the workout in, and then ran for 30 minutes after that. Despite feeling sick, I felt okay about that session. Felt like I did what I could. That's something I need to remind myself of, is that despite all the challenges and obstacles, I've done fairly well with not missing sessions. And if I do miss a session, I just make up for it. I feel very confident in the fact that I'm getting the training in, I'm getting my duration, and I'm getting my distance in. Where the confidence is lacking right now is just kind of how I'm executing on that and how I feel, especially after the long rides, and I'll get into that in a second. So yeah, Tuesdays, bike run. Wednesdays are pool, 2,400 yards of the pool. Now I know why I get cramps in my feet. It's because when I push off the side of the pool, that's when I get cramps. And I do my best not to push off at all, but you have to put your feet against the wall a little bit. You know, you're in the pool for quite some time. You have a lot of time to think to yourself. And I was kind of freaking out. I remember freaking out a little bit about the fact that I'm only swimming not even half the distance of what this race is going to require. Even though I wasn't tired, and swimming isn't tiring me out. Even the 3,700 or 3,800 yard swim I did, I wasn't tired. It's just a long time to be swimming, that's all. So I was just kind of freaking out, not over the actual effort level, but the duration of it was kind of like, oh my gosh, and I got to remind myself that I will finish this race. I can't let these kind of confidence killers creep in and affect my training. I have to recognize these feelings that I'm having, or these thoughts that I'm having, just relax and reframe them. That's it. Just like I did in marathon training, right? So check out my marathon training, by the way. I got 16 videos, 16 weeks of marathon training where I went through the 5 R's. One of those methods of just working on the mental game, right? Running is a mental game, and Ironman, of course, is also a mental game, right? It's not just physical. Stay focused, keep on track. So I actually have a journal. I've been keeping a journal now because I feel like the days were I wasn't really reflecting on that day's workout as well as I should have, and reminding myself of what happened and how do I feel and what did I learn, what went right, what didn't go right. Thursday rolls around. Thursdays are running. I decided instead of doing an 8-minute pace to try and shoot for like a low 7-minute pace average. Got a good run in for sure. It was a really hot day Thursday. It's been incredibly hot here. It's at least 90, if not in the hundreds when I'm going out. So it's been kind of crazy. You know, the workouts are hard enough, but when you're going out and enduring these types of workouts and being out there for the duration that we're out there for, when it's 95 to 100 degrees, or in yesterday's case was 105, man, that just zaps you. Friday, the 25th of August, Fridays are long swims for me. And this was going to be my longest swim of the block, longest swim I've ever done, 3,800 yards in the pool. I love the training part of it. This is really the reason why I even sign up for races, is because of the training. It's the most enjoyable part. The race can be fun and has been fun, but there's, of course, a lot of stress and expectation and anxiety over the race itself. That was one of the thoughts I was having during my long swim. My swims are kind of like therapy sessions because you're just staring at a black line at the bottom of the pool for an hour plus. Man, so many thoughts are creeping through while swimming, for me anyways. Questioning, am I going to be ready with just 8 weeks remaining? Am I going to be ready physically and mentally? And what do I need to do in these next eight weeks to accelerate that? I don't feel Here's the thing. So take a step back. I don't feel much progress in my running. That's why I'm doing 4 days a week now. I need to get progress, meaning my pace. My paces are just not improving at all. Not that I'm, not being able to get those workouts in, but I am. I just feel like my paces are just a little off. Now I'm comparing myself against marathon training, which is just dedicated running. But nevertheless, I feel like I should be running faster. So that's where my confidence is lacking a little bit. And I'm a runner, and that's my strength. So I need to make sure that tool is sharp for Ironman. That's where I can make up some time and make up some ground and feel good about it. As far as the swim goes, I feel fine about the swim. I'm not too worried about the swim. The bike is probably the one I'm worried about the most. The duration of just sitting in the saddle for as long as we're going to be sitting in the saddle, that freaks me out. So that's the part of my training, both physically and mentally, that I need to fine tune and figure out a way or a method by which I don't let that overwhelm me, either in training or in race. Yeah, so Friday, not feeling too tired after 3,800 yards at all. Really just thinking about the next day's ride. So Saturday was a 75-mile bike ride, longest bike ride I've ever done. And once again, it was supposed to be hot. And we actually ended up finishing the 75-mile ride when it was 95 degrees out. We started about 75 and it just went up to 95. So it was pretty warm. And thank goodness I've got my training buddy Marchin to ride with, who's also doing Ironman California, which is great. Couldn't do this without him. And he kind of sets the pace. He does most of the pulling. I do my best to do some of the pulling, but he's just straight up a stronger cyclist than I am. I try to pull to get out front and do my part anyways, but I would say maybe out of the entire 75 miles or 4.5 hours we were out there, I would say maybe only 20 minutes of it where I actually out front pulling, marching. It was a disaster. I felt miserable after that ride. Total confidence killer. I've got an 85-mile bike ride this Saturday. I'm going to have to use that as an opportunity to practice ways in which I stay positive and I ride strong. And I finish the bike ride with added confidence. The first 55 miles were no problem. The last 20 miles were an absolute disaster. I just wanted it over with. I don't know if you've ever had or thought this during some of your training sessions, but I have a few times whereby I just admitted to myself that I'm no longer having fun. I'm not having fun out here. I've had that in some training sessions in the past, be it my 22 mile long runs, where with 2-3 miles left, I'm admitting to myself I'm not having fun anymore. I'll get this done, but I'm no longer having fun. And if you're not having fun, then then I feel like I'm doing something wrong. So I was no longer having fun, especially in those last 5 miles. But I got it done, and so I have to use that as a boost there. That I got exactly 4 hours and 30 minutes in, which is what my schedule called for, which was 75 miles. So I got it done, and I did exactly what my schedule called for. But I just felt terrible afterwards. But I just can't imagine feeling that way in the Ironman, knowing that I've got 26.2 miles to go running. So, it's kind of overwhelming. Sunday's long run was also another hot day, but running's my thing. I really enjoy running. I did 15 miles, 2 hours and a little less than 2 hours and 10 minutes. And tried to just really go out at a zone 2, zone 3 kind of a pace, somewhere in that 8:30 range, I guess. I was a little under that eventually, but just instead of trying to go sub 8-minute mile paces, which I'd for sure be doing for marathon training, this one was, I tried to just follow the plan, adhere to the strategy of this plan, and try and just go 8:30. It's about duration, not distance. It was hot as hell, another 95 plus day, baking out there, and had to do kind of a weird kind of configuration around this area just to make sure that I was somewhere near water fountains when I needed it. Real quick, it's the nutrition on the ride that's likely the culprit for how terrible I feel. I had too much sugar with me, and I had gels that I don't normally use. I use the spring gels, like the Awesome Sauce. Those are my favorite. I didn't have any of those in stock, I guess. So I ended up taking some goos with me, and I just don't like the texture and flavor of the goos that I was taking, and a lot of sugar. So my stomach and my brain were working together, convincing me not to take gels. And so I was woefully underfueled for that ride as well. So that, I think that for sure, along with the heat, contributed to what was ultimately a miserable ride. I think I'm sabotaging myself. This is going to be a different weekend. I'm going to be smarter about it this weekend. It's going to be a lot cooler this weekend too, so it's going to help. I have high expectations for this weekend. The ride and the run are longer, and I hope to just feel a lot better. That is my recap for weeks 9 and 10. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to it. You may want to go back to my 16 weeks of marathon training. Probably had very similar kind of like confessions like this where things just didn't seem to be going very well, but I ended up kind of turning that around. I'm hoping to do that this time. Yeah, let's get this. Surf Run Channel out.